Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Andrew Ross. Now, it will come as a surprise to no one in this great white north of ours that winter is well and truly upon us, even if areas of the country aren't really seeing too much of the white stuff right now. It is definitely winter tire weather. And so with me today is Mikhail Jernick, the manager of communications for the Rubber Association of Canada. Now, every year, TRAC puts together a winter tire survey looking at penetration rates of winter tires and some of the factors that Canadians are looking at in to determine whether or not they need to add winter tires or continue on with three-season tires, which long-standing misgivings on that. Anyway, I'll just ask you, Mikhail. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for having us.
A pleasure. So, uh, what are the highlights of this year's findings on the winter tire research?
Well, the Tire and Rubber Association has been running this survey for quite a few years now, going back to early 20th, 21st century. And this year, and we always ask whether people use winter tires. So we've been sort of tracking the trend over the past 2 decades. So the good news is that 78% of Canadians now use winter tires, which is a 10-point increase from 2016. The 8 year is just sort of it's a random number. We were just happy we saw that increase of 10%, 10 points, not 10%. And um, and we also ask Canadians, do you find winter tires are more important now with the climate change sort of affecting the weather? We are getting these severe storms coming out of nowhere, and they also say yes, this is also a concern to them, and they do believe that winter tires are way to go for them.
Sure. I mean, that's sort of great news for the safety and security of the rest of us on the road. Some of the regular listeners of the podcast and readers of Indie Garage and Jobber Nation might know that Chat Media, the parent company, is based here in Sudbury, Ontario. But I, Andrew Ross, grew up and spent most of my life in Toronto and in Toronto. Uh, Winter tires were, a few and far between seeing things on the roads when I was a young buck. But certainly, starting again, probably about 15 to 20 years ago, I really saw an uptick in people's recognition that winter tires helped you get around, even in the city where we didn't get a ton of snow, but it was a lot of ice and slippery conditions. So I suppose that what you're finding in the surveys is kind of a reflection of that natural progression.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it all comes down to technology as well. I think winter tire has come a long way. We as an association, I believe the first time we started promoting winter tires as a product, I think it was in the 60s. The the first mention of, getting the messaging out there about winter tires was, I believe it was like a board meeting of 1965.
Oh my.
The industry has been trying to educate drivers about the advantages of winter tires because it is the safer choice. And there's a lot of stakeholders involved as well. The governments promote the winter tires. You have insurance incentives. You have the road safety groups. So it's a concerted effort of everybody sort of pulling in the same direction.
Sure. I mean, how important? I mean, again, for folks listening outside of Canada, maybe it's worthwhile noting that the province of Quebec has winter tire usage mandatory, and so they sort of skew some of the overall results a little bit, and yet still outside of the province, it's still. A significant uptake. What's
Mhm.
the number outside of Quebec if you sort
Uh,
of
out,
set them
outside
aside?
outside of Quebec, it's 73%. So it's about, the Quebec. Yes, I mean they have the most severe winters in Canada. They have storms and they have the low temperatures, so it makes sense for Quebec to have. mandated winter tires, so they do create that uptick. But also other provinces have uh, initiatives that promote winter tires. For example, British Columbia has mandatory winter tires on mountain roads, on
Okay.
certain mountain roads. But here they expect the winter tires be the three Peak Mountain Snowflake tire, but they also accept the M plus S, which is your general all-season tire. In Manitoba, the public insurance of Manitoba offers low interest loans for drivers to purchase winter tires, and since they launched this program in 2014, I believe they processed about 173,000 applications.
Oh, wow.
Uh, then you have the insurance discounts for people who use winter tires in Ontario, and since 2020 also in Newfoundland and Labrador. And again, Quebec has the mandatory winter tires since 2008.
Right. I mean, I see that in the research that not an insignificant number of those responding said, yeah, obviously mandatory winter tires change the mind, but also those insurance incentives and other programs really help tip the balance. But I still find it, sort of interesting. I guess this is part of the result is that regionally speaking, for example, uh,
Mhm.
British Columbia has a 68% penetration of winter tire usage, which is only 1% less than Alberta, Manitoba, or Saskatchewan. Um,
Mhm.
again, for those folks outside the country or outside the regions, British Columbia has, relatively speaking, notwithstanding the mountain passes, a pretty mild winters, and yet really very close to the amount of penetration, which kind of begs the question, how much is necessity and weather related and some of these programs, and how much is maybe some just really effective messaging from tire retailers and tire organizations to get people to understand the benefits of the winter tire. I mean, you have any kind of insights on that from your experience?
Not direct insights, but it's obvious they're doing something right. I think you're right. I think that their utilization of winter tires has increased fairly in fair numbers over the past 2 years. So I think the retailers are doing a good job. Also, there are government initiatives focusing on the education around winter tires, but it's also possible, look when you look at Vancouver, they have that freezing rain every other year, and then it all turns into the most expensive luge contest in the world. So I think I think people, live and learn, and those who do use winter tires they also told us about 79% of them told us that winter tires indeed save them from potentially hazardous driving situations. So I think people are getting the message.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Again, one of our team members does is based out of Vancouver, and certainly the weather events there have been extremely and extreme and off the charts over the last few years,
Hmm.
both winter and summer. I mean, you didn't used to need to have any almost no heating at all capacity in a home, and certainly last winter that was not the case. You really you really
Yeah,
it got cold for
yeah, yeah,
Vancouver standards.
yeah. Yeah, and I think the other explanation to Vancouver might be the penetration of the all-season tires with Reaping Mountain Snowflake, what's dubbed the all-weather tires, which are sort of a urban solution to people who don't have storage and people who don't want to switch their tires at the beginning and end of the season for dedicated winter tires. So I guess this solution is taking place as well. We do sort of ask our respondents whether they switch over their tires in the spring and fall, and the 6% told us that they don't, so which implies that they use the all-weather tires.
So was that 6%?
Yes, last
6%.
year it was 7, so yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, that would make sense,
yeah.
although I certainly, again, one of the benefits of being here in Northern Ontario is that studded tires are allowed,
Mhm.
but it also means that when people have not switched over their tires, you can hear it
Yes.
when they're driving on. I know that there's quite a few folks. Obviously, right now we haven't had uh, much snow that stayed. We did get some toward the end of October, but it's definitely cold enough. I mean, this morning in early November, early mid-November, we're looking at in the minuses, still single-digit minuses in the morning, but definitely cold enough for winter tires, whatever your solution, whether studded or not. And for those folks who have studded tires, you can hear them on the road. So they're there, and sometimes in as late as kind of June or July, you still hear them on the road. So
Oh,
I guess some folks to take their time, just
yeah.
being.
I'm pretty sure it's not legal to drive started
It's
tires
completely
outside of
not
the winter
legal. It's
season.
you're supposed to have them
I'm
off
pretty sure there's a
in
time
April. You're
frame
supposed
for
to
the
have them off in
usage.
April,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Please correct me through comments if I've got the date a little bit wrong, which makes sense because then by that point you're pretty much out of the woods when it comes to sort of certainly the worst of winter driving conditions, and it should be warm enough in April. And yet, it still persists, right? So I guess I should say advisory to folks: please obey the rules, please obey the laws of the land when you can and cannot have your studded tires on, and you should always have a winter tire solution for your customers. Regardless, and if you're running a shop in Northern Ontario, you're probably sending out advisories to your customers when they can and when they can install and when they should be looking at switching them out as we get closer to the springtime. Sorry, it's still months away now, so apologies for making everybody feel that it's so far away, I guess. But I guess it's progress, though, right? On the winter tire front, there's a bit of technology in there, with the
Absolutely, absolutely. That you mentioned static tires. We talk about all-weather tires. Tire makers are creating solutions for different purposes, right? So the best thing consumers can do is to talk to a tire specialist, talk to them about what are their driving habits, where they are driving, and pick the solution that fits them. I know we are all consumers, and there are just things we are not really considering when we choose certain products. And tires have been, I think people are always thinking about it as a sort of an overhead and a commodity in more or less. But people should always consider tires are the only part of the vehicle that's touching the road. It's about comfort, it's about safety, it's about noise. There is a lot that goes into the tire design, and people should take advantage. People should talk to their retailers. They shouldn't just buy the first thing that's on sale. They should do a bit of research and get the best thing that works for them.
right, right, and ask your tire professionals at your local retailers, right? And
Absolutely.
I mean, the onus is on the folks at the front counter to make sure that they're fully informed of what the latest technologies available for your customers are. I mean, I guess the most significant is the real kind of middle ground urban solutions that you mentioned. I forget the proper terminology. Please help me out here, Mikhail.
The all-weather tires. It
The
basically
all-weather
it's an
tires.
all-season tire that passes the test for the winter tire, the three-peak mountain snowflake
Three
symbol.
Peak Mountain. Yeah, look, checking that out. It's a great solution for people who, might think, I really would like to have the winter tires, but maybe don't want to make the commitment on having a separate set. Uh, and you mentioned also, storage areas, and I know a lot of shops will store tires for free, but it's not always the case, and some people like to hang on to them. So there's a solution. There's a winter tire solution for just about everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, if some consumers are purchasing new tires, also there's the black mark, which is the upfront cost to winter tires, right? People think, I have to spend $1,500 or so on tires, but if you're buying dedicated winter tires, you're not wearing eight tires at wheels at the same time, right? You're switching them over, so that will expand the the lifespan of your regular tires. So if you visit our website, Tire and Rubber, tracanada.ca, in the consumer section, we do actually have a calculator for winter tire cost calculator. So I just threw in some numbers that are kind of fair. So, kilometers driven, I believe the average in Canada is 15,000. So I put that there. Your all season tires, the ones when you're not switching, they cost about, again, I put in $1,500. The life expectancy is about 80,000 kilometers. Uh, then you have other things like installation costs, tire rotations, and frequency of rotations, and then you can choose, using winter tires with rims or without rims. I threw in $1,500. Expected life expectancy of winter tires are a little bit lower, so I put in 60,000. You can find that information when you're purchasing tires. And then you have the changeovers, say $70, storage. I put zero. Let's say you have a garage to put your winter tires in. So, and it will throw the results out for you. So if you buy just winter tires and switch the rubber on your current wheels, that will cost you about $12.37 more a month
Twelve
to
dollars and
have.
37 cents.
$12.37 without rims,
Yes,
because
understand.
that that switchover is more expensive and you have to do it twice a year. But if you purchase dedicated winter tires with just the cheap steel rims that cost about $100 a piece, so I put in $400, it will cost you $4.77 a month to have a dedicated set of winter tires. So I think we can give up that one latte a year and and stay
Well,
safer on
in
the
all
road.
fairness, we have 5 months of winter, so that's 5 lattes a year. So
Well, this is monthly, so that's for 12 months,
I
okay?
understand.
So
Yeah. So, but
yeah,
it's not significant, right? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a latte a month, as you say.
yeah. Again, it's an upfront cost, but I'm not supposed to say that, but if you have two sets of tires, one lasts 80,000 kilometers and the other one lasts 60 or 140,000 kilometers, how much lifespan you have on your car? Not much.
Right. Yeah. It's basically that you've got one set of each
Yeah.
cared for properly. You're probably going to be good for at the very least, the lifetime, the lifespan that you have the car, and
Yeah.
maybe beyond, because you're sharing out the wear
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you're shopping for a car now. Some car retailers are also throwing in the winter tires with the purchase.
right.
You might, at least they used to. I'm not sure whether this season is happening, but yeah, it might be an option there.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, but regardless, there are certainly options, and even on the kind of just going out and equipping yourself is really just $5 a month or less, um, and it just combined with the uh, insurance incentives to some extent, other incentives, and frankly the peace of mind and one slippery road and collision can cost you well beyond that, even in deductibles. So it all just sounds like it makes it worthwhile, right? Plus,
Absolutely.
just the less nervous driving, right? So, Mikhail, that's great. I mean, my message for consumers and retailers is, you know, uh, go armed with your research, find out what's out there right now, try to set aside any old uh, assumptions that you might have about winter tires and how they feel on your car, how they drive, or how expensive they might be or not expensive, and make some smart decisions about you know keeping yourself in a good state of mind when you're able to drive safely and securely and know you can stop when it's cold and know you can stop when it's snowy and turn and all that good stuff, right, Mikhail?
Absolutely. People are more comfortable driving on winter tires. They keep telling us that it saves them from hazardous situations. They when they purchase tires, they for family and friends, it's because they want them to stay safe, and they buy them because of advice from friends and family. That's at 16%. Advice from retailers, it's 8%, and lower insurance premiums, it's 20%. So the education's working, And if we continue, we might get to the point where all of Canada's in a safe spot with winter tires.
Oh, well, wouldn't that be nice? All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mikhail. Thank you everyone for listening. Uh, winter tire season is upon us. Uh, uh, make sure you talk to your customers. All right. Take care, everyone. Talk to you next time on the Great Canadian Aftermarket Podcast.